Hello, and welcome to the Big Yearning Podcast, released alternate Mondays at 5 p.m. UK time. We are two life coaches who really enjoy meaningful conversations about big questions. Our work and our lives have been shaped by these questions, and they've taken us to some amazing places in our lives and in ourselves. We all long for things, we all carry big yearnings in our hearts, and over the next hour or so, we hope to touch on some of these feelings and perhaps give you ideas or insights to help you get clearer about what you long for and how to get it. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Big Yearning Podcast. My name is Alexander, and I'm the one who's relentlessly pushing, looking for solutions, and really mindful of the future, but I've got to admit to being a bit rubbish at stopping, resting, and appreciating the moment.
And my name's Neil. I'm the one who's high on consistency and reliability, but sometimes I really struggle with being flexible and changing the way that I do things. I can get a bit stuck in a rut at times.
So welcome back everybody, if you're joining us again, if you're a long-term listener of The Big Yearning, and if you're discovering us for the first time, then hello. Today we've got a bit of an announcement. Neil and I are going to be taking a bit of a break over the summer. We're going to go offline for a couple of months, and we're going to do a big review of all the things that we've covered, where we're going with the podcast, what we're saying with the podcast, and just kind of go back and reconnect with one another and make sure that we're on the same page and we're going in the same direction. So at the end of the last episode, we talked about that our next subject was going to be how do we as individuals respond to global catastrophe, to environmental collapse? How do we make sense of that? And we will be coming back to that. We've got really interesting things that we're exploring together around how do we as individuals respond to that kind of scale of impending disaster? How do we handle the layers of feelings? And how do we work with those feelings as they come up, as we encounter this really challenging topic? And what can we actually do that isn't a waste of time at this time in history? What is not just going to be displacement activity or trying to numb ourselves from it? What can we really do that would help at this time? So that is something we absolutely want to tackle. But I think what happened was that Neil and I sat down with that huge topic and we talked about it at length. We spent hours talking about it with one another, and we realized that this really taps into our need to do a big review of our podcast as a whole, as our project as a whole. So we're going to be back. We're going to be back with some really meaty stuff. I think we're both really proud of some of the foundational work we've done. We've published 27 episodes, and in a minute, Neil's just going to be going over a few that were really popular, that really landed with people, that we've had really great feedback about. So if you're interested in some of the topics that we've covered, then hang around for a minute, and Neil's going to talk about those. We're really proud of the fact that we've laid this foundation, and we want to go to the next level. We want to step up now that we've got all that foundational stuff in place and say, what do we want to say now about these big yearnings that we all have, about these yearnings to connect, to belong, to have our deepest needs met. So we're taking a step back. We're going to go offline for a couple of months. We'll miss you, and you might miss us. And we will be back, maybe September sort of time. We'll put out a big announcement when we're coming back, and we'll be back with fresh material. And really looking forward to that new beginning. Neil, have you got anything to add there?
Yes, thank you, Alexander. Just to echo what you've said, that I believe and feel that it's a really good time to take a break. As you said, we encountered this really challenging topic material around climate change and what's happening in our world at the moment. And I think that kind of led us on to really think about the podcast more as a whole and where do we want to take it. So just echoing what you're saying there. And as we were talking beforehand, it made me think of these TV programs that take a break. They're not on all the time. They kind of they're on for a certain series, whether it's Silent Witness or Line of Duty or whatever it is. So I'm just kind of thinking about it in those terms, that we need to kind of go away and refresh and think anew. And I'm really, really proud of many of the episodes that we've produced. And when I look back at some of the episodes we've done, some of the topics that we've taken on, we've looked at contemporary challenges for men. We've looked at how to ask for help. We've looked at the issue of belief and spirituality. We've looked at gratitude. We've looked at things like coping with powerlessness. We've looked at dealing with aspects of mental health. We looked at death and dying, and we've looked at things like toxic positivity. So I would really, really encourage people listening to go back and listen to those again, if you like. We're going to be away for a few months, but you might rediscover some really rich stuff from the material that we've produced. I was thinking about a writer who I once saw give a talk, and he used to get really fed up because people would only read his book once and then it goes on a shelf. And I can really kind of empathize with that. I'm a great one for kind of rereading and noticing things a second time. So there's a real wealth of material that we've covered. And from a lot of the feedback we get, we know that we're kind of hitting the mark for a lot of people, and people kind of eagerly wait for the next episode to come out. So I hope if you're listening to this and you're a regular listener, that you aren't too down in the dumps thinking you won't hear Neil and Alexander for a while, but we will be back. So even though we're going to be away for a few months, please do get in touch with us again, either individually or via our social media platforms, to say what you'd like to hear when we return in September, whether it's a particular topic or a particular format, or any other suggestions that you have in terms of us returning anew and bright and even more sparkly.
So we're just going to say some bits of our news and some things we're looking forward to in the summer. And then, we'll bid you adieu, and we'll be back in a couple of months. Neil, what have you got going on, or what are you looking forward to?
What I'm looking forward to over the summer, Alexander, is a really new development for me. I am going to be running my first one-day workshops, and I'm going to be running one-day workshops based around embodied self-coaching practices or tools. This is an area which really, really interests me at the moment, and comes off the back of my narrative coaching course, where there's a really big emphasis on embodied practices, getting people to kind of practice with their stuff in the session, not just sending people away for homework, but really engaging in what we call serious play and trying on new identities, different behaviours, different ways of speaking. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Got lots of ideas for what might work. And in many ways, it's a really, really consolidatory bringing together of actually probably 30 years worth of presenting topics, presenting trainings, speaking publicly. When I kind of retraced my steps historically of all the different things I've done, I kind of surprised myself a bit in terms of, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. So it's really carving out a very, very, very Neil-shaped space in terms of delivering stuff. So I'm really excited about that. And if anybody wants to know more about that, please feel free to get in touch. And the other thing which is related is that I'm over halfway through my narrative coaching course now. So over the summer, I will be getting down to things like essays, case studies, reflective journals, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm a little bit nerdy in that I really love writing essays and really love doing this stuff because I learn really well that way. And for me, there's something very, very exciting and creative about the theory to practice gap. So, writing about something, reading about it, thinking about it, talking with people about it, and then putting it into practice. And that kind of mutually reflecting relationship that goes on. I do have a choice to not do all of that stuff and still complete the course. But for me, in terms of my learning, I think that'd be really great. So, yeah. Even when the sun's shining, I might be writing essays. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And lastly, simply to have some fun over the summer. I mean, for goodness sake, it's like everybody's kind of bursting, I think, to get out and enjoy the sun and have some sense of freedom of moving as we hopefully come to the end of lockdown here in the UK. And I'm very much looking forward to this weekend coming down to see you, my friend, to celebrate your birthday on Saturday in fair old Brighton. So really looking forward to that. And really looking forward, Alexander, to chewing the cud with you on all of this. I think we've done some really, really good stuff. We've tackled some really challenging issues. I think that we've really tried to give people listening real takeaways, and I must pay credit to you in that way. You always keep me focused and keep the podcast focused on, okay, what can people take away? What can they kind of implement, even if it's just a kind of smallest thing? So just wanted to say thank you for that. Yeah, that's me.
Lovely. Thank you, man. Well, I'll begin by saying thank you to you as well, Neil. This has been a hell of a year from that first time I reached out to you and said, hey, should we do a podcast?
Yeah.
And then through deciding what we were going to talk about, what is our shared interest, how we were going to format it, our first stumbling episodes. One of the things the listeners don't know is that our first ever episode didn't go out because it was a disaster. And so we had to re-record. So episode 1 is not episode 1. But... In years to come, I'm just going to interrupt you there. In years to come, that missing big yearning podcast first episode will be a collector's item, mate. Yeah,
it will be on the Antiques Roadshow. Yeah. It's been discovered. It's been discovered in Neil's loft. So there,
the Antique Data Roadshow.
Yes.
And then just getting into the flow of it, getting more confident. Both of us speaking, and just being able to slowly work away. I really feel like the challenge here is that you and I have both spent our lifetimes working in fields that most people don't really know about personal growth, personal development, mental health. And the really core stuff, the really meaningful, powerful moments that happen with a client or in a healing journey, they're really hard to get to. There's usually months or years of work that someone has to do before they get there. And so I feel like what we're trying to do is crystallize something about those moments, about the great timeless truths that we have discovered through doing this stuff, and provide it through a podcast format. And we're both coming to this fresh. Neither of us have a media background, and we're just trying to find a way of being able to provide it and make it interesting and engaging. And yeah, I'm really proud of it as well. I'm proud of what we've been able to achieve. And thank you, Neil, for this journey, for this amazing back and forth that we do. And more to the future. I'm very much looking forward to season 2 of our show. Okay, bits of news about me. My most exciting piece of news is that after months of work and literally hundreds of hours of work, my new website is done, it's live, it's finished. And if you want to head over there now, my new website is alexanderbutler.coach. It's online, you can go and check it out, alexanderbutler.coach. Just log on to it and let me know what you think. It's a massive step up from my last website, which was a massive step up from the site before that. It's always just trying to get closer to being able to articulate what's different about what I do. I've got this philosophical, theological background, and I'm a really practical, come on, we got to get shit done sort of guy. And the union of those two is very, very hard to express. And I get this consistent feedback from clients that there's something really special about what I do. I'm meeting up with clients increasingly who come from corporate backgrounds, or at least have a lot of experience of very high level coaching. And after a few sessions with me, they say, wow, I've never done anything like this. And that was, I'm British. I'm not very comfortable saying I'm really good at this, or I've got great skills, or this is an amazing experience. And yet, full credit to Dom. Dom is my PR guy. Full credit to him. Thank you very much, Dom. Just constantly trying to get me to be more open, more confident, more bold, more willing to say what is true instead of some kind of watered down version of what is true. So yeah, so that's what the new website is. I'm very proud of it. I hope that when you visit it, you'll like it. And yeah, I'm hoping that a lot more people will discover it and want to work with me. I'm always excited to hear from new clients. So yeah, that's my big news. Phew, it's done, it's live. Other things I have coming up. So yeah, my birthday is coming up very soon, and Neil is coming up from Frome to see me. I've got other friends coming over from different parts of the country. Very excited to see everybody. I have this practice around my birthday, which is that my birthday is the one day a year where I stop worrying about everybody else. Anyone who knows me, I'm constantly organizing social stuff, or I'm looking after people, or I'm making things happen. And on my birthday, I just go, right, I've done all that. I've done that for the whole year. Today, let's celebrate me and actually let everyone make a fuss of me. And so that is nearly here. I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm very much looking forward to seeing all my dear friends. Immediately after that, me and my best mate are going down to Devon We are going hiking on Dartmoor. I'm going to see my family for the first time in a year. And we're going to a yurt on the Cornish coast, and just very much looking forward to change of scenery, change of pace, a chance to reflect more deeply, and a chance to just be in the wild without the sound of traffic and connect with the land. So I'm really looking forward to that. That is, it's just been like the last mad dash working on the website and the big rush of other work that's come in. Just really looking forward to a bit of a change of pace and some time in the green. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So with all that said, that is the end of our episode, really. We are now going to take a break for a couple of months. Please keep an eye on our social media accounts. Make sure you're following The Big Yearning on Facebook and on Instagram. We'll put out some announcements when we're ready for season 2, for our second year of our podcast, once we've had some really deep and meaningful conversations around where we're taking all this. So thank you so much, all those who stay with us, who tune in every time, who listen to The Big Yearning while they're driving or while they're doing the washing up or while they're out for a walk or whatever it is you do while you listen. So thank you so much for all of our loyal followers who have listened to all of our episodes. And if this was your first episode and you've just tuned in time for us to say cheerio, then please do check back on the previous episodes. We've got 27 really fantastic episodes that cover some foundational and also quite challenging aspects of personal growth, personal development, and how we meet these enormous yearnings that we all have. With all that said, this is us signing off. We'll be back in a couple of months, so take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. See you in a few months.